Oh my god! Hi, I'm Leo Paskovsky and I'm here in Mauritania, a country where polygamy still exists. There's very little comfort in modern things. There are many cool, unusual and ancient traditions. It's a country that ranks 130-ish in terms of GDP per capita, and 30% of the population live below the poverty line. The country is among the 10 least visited countries in the world. And that gives you an idea of what the country is like. We will take a walk through several Mauritanian towns. I will tell you what I know about this country. Anyway, let's go for a walk. Here's some really interesting place up ahead. Let's go see. Pardon? This place is buzzing. I don't know what's going on, but I love that Moorish women are so lively. They always smile a lot, laugh and talk a lot. Polygamy is allowed here. You can have up to 4 wives. But there's a really cool point. When a woman marries you, she signs a paper, whether she's willing to be the only wife or whether she's willing to be one of several. As women have this right to choose, they are using it, and polygamy is becoming less common. Abdul, our translator, called and said, "Guys, a wedding." One of the first things you read when Googling Mauritania along with slavery is the tradition of force-feeding girls. In France, they used these things to feed the ducks to get fat, to make the liver bigger. And this is what we would use to force-feed the girls. It was a tradition of nomads to force-feed little girls before puberty. Fat women are the most beautiful, and it is also a sign of your wealth. According to what locals say, this tradition no longer exists. And this is how they explain it. You don't need to force feed anyone anymore. They're getting fat on modern food. Burgers, McDonald's, Coca-Cola. But in fact, the fashion of being big and fat, unlike force feeding, has not gone away. If you want to know about how people live in other countries and see more of my travels, subscribe to this channel. The more subscribers, the more amazing places I can show you. Big bodies are beautiful. Fat hanging from the sides, from the arms. Legs must be thick too. The interesting thing they told me is about this tradition of women drinking camel urine. She says when a camel gives birth, its first urine is drunk. Some drink it neat, some mix with milk. But that's just for women. That makes them fatter. Despite the fact that the area looks slightly depressing, in general, you feel safe. Local people's attitude is pretty nice. Shoot the truth. Don't just walk around. Ask people about their problems. Nobody jumps at you. The only thing people can sometimes ask you is to stop recording. That's where all the problems the locals have end. Relax. Never. I feel absolutely safe. It's dirty here. Dirty? More or less. I couldn't disagree. Urban transport in Mauritania is very cool. They don't have regular public transport here. Instead of buses, there are old Mercedes, just like the ones behind me. And as far as I understand... Hello? Hello? Do you speak Spanish? No. Instead of buses, they use Mercedes. They're all falling apart, assembled in pieces literally from parts of different cars. They have holes, missing parts, they're broken and repainted multiple times. You can see how it looks from the inside. There are no handles, no cladding, nothing. Most of these cars are just frames. Oh, there's someone being belted on the back. Are we sharing a seat then? Yeah. You just stop a completely busted Mercedes on the street, get in there, and it takes you where you need to go. What's special about local routes is that the front seat is for 2 people and the back seat is for 4 passengers. It's just impossible to keep the cars clean because it's a desert. There's endless dust and sand. But their car washes look very cool. It's a man with water canisters and cloths. Hand washing, which costs a lot of money back home. I'd like to tell you about some entertainment, but there is nothing to say. What they do for fun is always drinking tea everywhere. Men sit in a circle and drink tea. They go to weddings as well. There was once a cinema here. It was opened in 2006, but it soon got closed down because it began to show porn. It turned into a porn theatre. Because of that, the authorities quickly shut it down. Since then, there are no cinemas and almost no movies are shown in this country. In 2021, the film Mauritanian was released, and as I understand, almost no one in the country has seen this film. Our translator once said to me, "Oh, I have this movie on my smartphone," and he started watching it. People do not have cinemas. People do not even have computers here. I've only seen a computer at the airport when getting my visa. No idea how traffic rules work here. As they speak French, nobody calls you sir, brother, or white man. Everyone calls you monsieur. Monsieur. I must tell you, it feels quite nice. It encourages your positive attitude towards local people. The people are very friendly. It's not that they're happy to see you, but that they're always interested in you very much. I went to a local shop once to buy some toilet paper. All I wanted was to get some toilet paper, but I ended up getting stuck for an hour because they offered me some tea. So we had tea first. And then they put their traditional clothes on me and arranged a photo shoot. They made me pose in these clothes and took pictures of me. And they used my phone for that. We're gonna walk around the neighborhood. It is difficult to say where the center of the city is. Even though Nouakchott is the capital, it is pretty flat. There are no tall buildings. To see what a typical Moorish town looks like, I came to a town called Choum. Let's go see what a typical Moorish town looks like. These are pretty simple houses made of sandstone. So they make bricks with sand and God knows what else. And they make fences and houses with those bricks. All this doesn't even look like regular houses. At least not the houses we're used to. These are houses' windows. The windows are made as close as possible to the ground because in Moorish houses, people always sit or lie on the floor and windows are usually open. This way they get a bit of a breeze at the level of the room where people are. There is no one on the street, only goats run around. Occasionally you can see a person walking. It's so quiet. It feels like an extinct city. What's behind the fences? Apparently there are people. I was mistaken. In general, it's a typical yard, nothing too strange. A typical rustic yard. Talking about what you can find in a house of the Mauritanians, in fact, not much. Here is where the dishes are sold, and this is the main thing they have. Carpets and dishes. There is no furniture in the houses. I have never seen a table, a chair, or a bed. Let me show you what a typical bed looks like. A Moorish bed, it's this kind of mat. Just a thin mattress with foam inside. A piece of foam and a pillow. That's it. That's the bed you're getting. To compare how different Mauritanians live, I'll show you the house where our translator's parents live. His family is neither poor nor rich. An average family in a medium-sized town. You can see they have a tent inside of a house. They're joking that we don't need to look for nomads because they live almost like nomads. They have 2 tents. One is for winter, which is less blown by winds. The second is for summer. It is cooler. and there is a third room made of bricks. Our translator lives there. It's a bit more modern. This is the toilet, rustic type, and the only water source is this tap. To take a shower, the hose connects to this tap. The other end goes in the toilet, and this is how you take a shower with a hose. There's a goat pen. The whole week we've been sleeping on the ground, right here in the yard. We could sleep inside the cabin, but it's cooler outside. It's pretty hot now. This is what a typical house looks like. Carpets, goats, a satellite dish. 3 things that support the Moorish dwelling. The main object in the Mauritanian interior is a carpet because it's a seat, a table, and often a bed. So carpets are kept really well and taken care of. There are a lot of carpet washers in the town. This is what they look like. The carpets are just hanging outside. They connect to a hose to some source of water, and a man washes them with a hose and brushes them by hand. And now we're going to take a stroll around the elite district of the capital. Are you ready to see some stunning places behind my back? I'm actually here not to show you these mansions, but talk about a very important topic. According to some organizations, Mauritania is the last country in the world where slave owners are not persecuted. We've visited a lot of families and a lot of homes. There's always been some kids or teenagers bringing food or doing dishes. So in all the houses, kids do all the work, like servants. At least it looked like that. I don't know, maybe I'm confusing that with working as domestic helpers. It's hard to tell. In fact, slavery did exist here for a very long time until the early 21st century, but we'll talk about it in detail later. The slaves were, of course, black Africans, who were enslaved by white Berbers. Then in 2006, some sheikh came to power here. He became a president and decided to be a progressive one. He attempted to abolish slavery. He did not succeed. The next year, the military junta came to power. They put things in order their way. Black families often continue to live with white people, with Berbers. They live with them and work for them, so they do not get paid for their work, but they don't pay the rent. According to what our translator told us, as he looks pretty much like a white man, they all live like a family. He said that black people are cared for. They get jobs, they get food, they get someone to marry as well. But it is clear what it all feels like, right? One big happy family. Yeah, right. According to statistics, in 2018, about 40% of the population lived below the poverty line. It's very easy to realize that these people are willing to work just for food, to do anything just to have a roof over their head and some food. No matter where you are in Mauritania, in the country, in the desert, in the capital, or in the elite area where we are now, you will see herds of goats and sheep everywhere on the street. Look, I'm in a luxurious district. People living here make a lot of money by the standards of this country, and yet they have herds of goats and rams, because cattle are the main capital of people in Mauritania, especially for poorer people. This is what the town constantly sounds like. There are constant calls for azan, the prayer, and prayers are constantly heard from the mosque. You can hear them on cars, on TV. People sometimes just turn them on at home instead of TV news or movies, apparently. They listen to prayers in the buses instead of the radio too. You can see a dude getting washed in the background. He does this before performing namaz. According to the rules, you must wash your hands, feet and your face before you pray, and you can see these kind of watering cans everywhere. If you walk around the city, you can see such watering cans at the entrances to houses, shops, offices, everywhere. So when the prayer time comes, people just come out from the office or their store, bathe on the sidewalk and go to pray. My favorite thing is tea. Tea here is fantastic. It's a whole ritual, it's a whole culture, and it's a special process. And tea runs through every day of Mauritanian people. There are some men having a cup of tea there.
Merci.
The tea tastes great. It is green tea with mint and lots of sugar, a ton of sugar, but it's very tasty. And it really charges you with energy. Mauritanians drink tea like water. They probably drink much less water than tea. And no wonder, because this country is a desert, and there is a huge water problem here. The thing that really surprised me the first time I saw it, this is it. You know what this is? This is a goat carcass. It's even gurgling. And this is a hanging thermos to keep the water temperature low. And you can come with a cup and get some water from this hole. The water is quite cool. It's simply amazing. There is one very cool and kind tradition, and this is a desert. You can find large clay pots with water and a mug around the town. And anyone can just come up, get water, drink and move on. Humanity at its best.
Merci.
Mauritanian food is not very diverse, I'd say. They are endlessly stuffing their stomachs with baguettes. They bake French baguettes carried by street vendors on their heads and sold all over the place. You can often see people carrying a load of baguettes. Beautiful, as if this was Arab Paris 2,000 years ago. But in fact, they eat baguettes in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. I love seeing this. The most precious local baguettes, sold right off the wheelbarrows. The baguette is fantastic because it has a surprise inside. It opens up like this. There's Nutella. Not very much though, but it'll do. This is a fancy one. There's usually no Nutella in the standard ones. I can't be choking on them anymore, to be fair. I think they're not a very healthy food. Ordinary Moorish breakfast is pretty simple. This is called zrik. It is drunk in the morning with a baguette or some other white bread, but most of the time it is a baguette. The way zrik is made is pretty simple. Milk is poured into a reservoir of goat skin. In fact, it is a goat carcass without the head, tied up where there used to be holes, and is intensively shaken for a long time. This is my new friend from Kabardino-Balkaria, Usman. He showed me another breakfast option which is much more interesting. The usual bread, of course, and camel hump with camel liver. Sounds fantastic. I really want to try it. A hump. Well, tastes like fat. Let me show you my favorite restaurant in Nouakchott. It looks really modern outside, big glass walls and stuff. Check this out. The main ingredient of the interior is sand. But the food is already served here. Despite the fact that the renovation has just begun, the food is served, no bother. Well done. Signature dishes are rice with vegetables and a drop of camel meat, lamb or fish, or pasta cooked in meat or vegetable broth. That's it. This is a typical lunch or dinner. They always eat with their hands, and it's fun, cool and delicious. But I've had enough of this for a week, to be honest, since we visited Nomads. And when I finally got to hold a spoon, I was so happy with this little thing. As they eat with their hands, they have a very cool tradition of washing hands before a meal with a special watering can on a special stand. They wash their hands as well as their guests' hands. It feels very pleasant and intimate. Such a procedure brings people closer. Another thing I liked was that they always eat from one big plate all together, and this is also such a unifying tradition. It feels like we're all one family. even people at the table who aren't relatives. You still feel like part of the team. I got an impression that Mauritanians don't eat much. They don't eat much and they mostly eat bread. So sugar energy keeps them going. I have this feeling because they consume tons of sugar. A lot of sugar in their tea, a lot of sugar in their zrik, and lots of sugar, of course, in soda drinks. Ah, she's hitting on me. So, anyway, I don't know. Based on how many loaves and how much sugar they eat, the whole country should be suffering from diabetes. The economic situation is, of course, not great. Same with jobs, so people either keep cattle or start some small businesses. Their businesses are pretty simple. Someone has a small shop with cigarettes and gum. Someone sells cards to load phone balance. Someone cooks food. Mainly it is rice with vegetables and fish. Here is a small restaurant. They cook on coals right on the street. These are dates for sale. Dates are probably the main product that is produced and grown in Mauritania. This is very cool. These are dates that are stored inside goat skin. They make goat skin bags, sew the dates inside. They're put inside fresh right after they're picked. Ah, this is pretty cool.
Bonsoir.
You might have seen a lot of countries in Africa and Asia where this is used instead of a toothbrush and toothpaste. Branches of some special plant are cut into small sticks. The tip of the branch is chewed to make it look like a brush. And then with this stick, they clean dental plaque. There are a lot of cool things about the money. Local money is awesome because it is plastic. It is plastic, which is very convenient. It is sand, dirt, and waterproof. On every banknote of any denomination, there is necessarily a Quran. And one more thing. My God, it's just impossible to hear anything. 3 or 4 years ago, there was a denomination. They took away... God, it's impossible. They took away 10. But still, 3 or 4 years later, people call all prices in old money. Even price tags are in old money everywhere, and it's incredibly confusing. On my first day, I was trying to get on a bus that's like 20 cents. He asked me for 10 ougis. Jesus Christ! What's going on? Anyway, the local currency is called ougi, but they asked for 100. 100? Are you nuts? I told him I wasn't going and he laughed at me. It turned out he told me the price in the old money. So if you come here, please do not get confused. And another important life hack, if for any reason you want to come here, bring cash because MasterCards do not work here at all. Visa cards are supposed to be working, but my Visa did not work in any of 20 ATMs of 10 different banks. Luckily, I had some cash, so Ilya and I somehow survived with that cash. Otherwise, I'd have to beg in the streets like it's done by so many people here. Another important piece of money advice, if you bring dollars here, make sure that they are $100 bills, first of all. They better be $100 bills. And secondly, that they are new, because I tried to exchange the old type. I gave the old banknote to the guy and he looked at me. He looked at the banknote and said, "What's that?" Honestly, dollars. For some reason, they decided that old-style dollars, which are commonly used around the world, are not money and they don't accept it, or they accept it at a much smaller rate. If you exchange a smaller than $100 banknote, the exchange rate will be worse too. So there's a lot of stupid rules here. You can only exchange money on the street. You can't do it in a bank. So you have to obey by those rules. As in every French colony, hey buddy. As in any French colony, they speak French here, but of course, only those who went to school. They mostly speak Arabic here, and also those who went to school speak Arabic. If you speak the classic literary Arabic, it will not help you much. The locals speak Hassania dialect. Hassania is a mix of Arabic dialect with local languages of Black and Berbers. It's all mixed up. So classic Arabic is only understood by those who went to school, and the rest speak Hassania. And the French say that they hardly understand local French.
عليكم السلام. Huh?
صدقة
No Arabic.
صدقة صدقة
I don't speak Arabic.
There is a pretty awesome tradition here. There's a small group of fishermen in the west of the country, and what they've done is they've trained dolphins to herd fish into their nets. Imagine that! Dolphins working for fishermen, chasing fish for them like herding dogs. I think it's amazing. Mauritania is a country that really surprised me. It's something I've never seen before. It's not the Black East Africa I've visited. It's not the Middle East. And it's not like Asia at all. Although it might look pretty harsh, it's actually quite pleasant to be here. You feel safe here. There are no problems with local people. They are very friendly. They are a bit shy and not very talkative, but they are not aggressive. They smile at you, they treat you well, and they invite you to have some tea. I think this place is a hidden gem. This place isn't a popular destination, but it deserves attention. Of all the places I've seen before, life in this country is still 1 foot out there in the past. It seems to me that a lot of things haven't changed since the time of the Prophet Muhammad. This country is definitely worth visiting. So if you want to experience safe African exotic, come to Mauritania. Leave your comments, share your thoughts about this place, like the video, subscribe and press the bell icon to not miss any new videos. And I'm going home. Bye.